Hello and welcome to The Canadian Wants to Know. Today I'm speaking to a small business owner in the city of Freiburg. He's developed his own brand of coffee that he sells at the Münstermarkt and has become quite successful in a short period of time. I want to know how he did it and what advice he can give to me so I can grow my own brand. Also, let's go. So I'm in the city of Freiburg at the Münstermarkt here with Andres. He has his own coffee shop / stall, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what he does and how he developed his brand.
Thanks, Jorge. Well, I'm from Costa Rica, so what we do is we source coffee directly from Costa Rica and we roast them twice a week here. So, and the main idea is we want to bring a piece of Costa Rica to Germany.
So what were some of the original ideas you had for the brand, and why did you ultimately decide to go with this brand, these colors, this name?
Well, it's always been coffee, definitely. I mean, there's no doubt. But we did play with a lot of different like brand names and stuff. We wanted to somehow. I mean, the goal was how to make the customers close to the origin, or how to put them closer to the origin. So we use we thought about another names like volcano names, like actually there was a name that it was called Origin 506, which is the telephone code from Costa Rica. So it's always been about origin, but most of the names were kind of hard to pronounce for German. So that's why pretty much we use actual Curica, because it's like a combination of different words, like pure, like rico, which means tasty, Costa Rica, pura vida. So it was it's pretty much the idea. And then the colors, we always use like colors that are really representative from Costa Rica, which it's when you see the ox car in Costa Rica, it's quite a representative thing about Costa Rica. So we thought about definitely having this color, like really a colorful thing about the brand.
My next question is, what do you want people to remember when they see your brand?
Well, what I want to people to remember is that they taste a bit of Costa Rica, that they were able to be there just when they sip the coffee. And actually that's why we choose sloth as our mascot, because sloths reminds you that that you should take your life slower, like really enjoy every second, every moment. And that's what pretty much what we want with our coffees, that people can really enjoy the flavors, enjoy the tastes, like the aromas. And so that's what I want to be remembered.
What would be your advice to me to make a brand recognizable, to make it memorable?
I would say you need to offer something new but also familiar. So it's kind of tricky, because as humans we are always looking for innovative things and something new, but we're also afraid of the new things.
Yeah.
So you have to
somewhere in the middle.
Exactly. So somehow that's why we decided to let's put Costa Rica, let's put the origin first, but let's offer like espresso coffees, like, because in Europe there's espressos are really famous or really popular. So it's pretty much let's put this origin. How you call it, like the origin offer, like you're really close to the origin, but also like using like traditional roasting techniques or beverages. So I would say that would be a good advice. Like how can I present something that looks new, but it's also has some familiarity, so I would say that would be a good advice.
So kind of like traditional and innovative and creative.
Exactly. It's a duality you have to play with.
What are some marketing strategies that have worked for you?
I can recall two, well, maybe more, but right now I will say that maybe the two most important strategies. The number one is how can we make the customer really close to the farmer, like really close to the origin. That would be, and how can we show it? That's why we use a lot of social media. That's why we use screens, because we need to. We want to show where does the coffee come from, and in order to people know what they are drinking. That's super important. So really close to the origin. And the other strategy is about transparency, about showing people that we. How much do we pay for the coffee? Because coffees are usually, it's a commodity, so we want to decommoditize the coffee. So it's also, transparency is really important. It's an important aspect in order to decommoditize the coffee. So we also are very transparent with the prices we pay. Where does exactly the coffee come from? Which varieties? It's like showing everything. Like really showing the customer. So here's what's behind what you're drinking. So I would say I will recall these two strategies. So transparency and being close to the origin.
Exactly. And making that connection for the customer to where their coffee comes from.
Exactly.
Right? So moving the two closer together.
Yeah, and maybe I can add another one that just came to my head. It's about sharing the culture of coffee. As I said before, here it's a lot of espresso and stuff, but there are also like filter coffees that taste really good. We want the customers to know which factors affect the flavor of the coffee. So it's about the variety, it's about the altitude, it's about the region, it's about the processing method. So there are a lot of factors that we usually as customers do not know. Okay. So
you're also trying to educate.
Yeah, kind of. So I would say that's another nice strategy, which is it's kind of it's not a compelling like buy my product strategy, but it's also a way to make people closer to you, to your brand.
I've got one final question for you. If someone is thinking about developing their own brand, what are some tips that you would give to them?
Well, I would say that's just, you need to definitely go to the street, like walk and make some research and start with really basic things, like I would say with what's on your fridge, like what will you have to test your idea, to test your concepts, and then you have to really listen carefully to the people. I would say if you have the chance, like here in Freiburg, to go to farmers market where you can interact with potential customers, where you can hear what people think about your product or about your concept. Do it, get some feedback, try to keep records if you are able to put in tests or put on test your business plan with real things, with real people.
Exactly.
And feedback is really important, and don't be like really stiff, like really, you need to stick to the plan, but just
you have to be a little flexible as well.
Totally.
I want to thank Andres for joining me for this interview. We have one final question for the audience, and that question is,
how do you like your coffee in the morning or in the afternoon? How do you drink it? Just leave the comments.
Exactly. So you can answer this question in the comment section below or in my WhatsApp group. And if you do that, we have one final surprise. You will be able to win one of Andres's coffees that he roasts here in Freiburg. So leave your answers in the comment section below or in the WhatsApp group, and you will be entered to win this coffee. Of course, this is for people who live in Germany. So thank you guys. Also,
thank you guys.
Bis nächstes Mal.
Ciao, bis gleich. Bis bald.